So coming to reinforced cement concrete. So when we talk about the reinforced cement concrete, so it is the specifications whatever we have written for cement concrete for bed will be used, because reinforced cement concrete is nothing but it is a mixture of cement, coarse aggregates, fine aggregates and water, and additionally we are adding reinforcement. So whatever the specifications required for reinforcement, that has to be added. Along with that, we require centering and shuttering, because reinforced cement concrete may be used for steel columns, may be used for beams, or may be used for slab. So in that cases, we need to provide the shuttering and centering, which will be of wooden or steel. So initially, we have to write the specifications for centering and shuttering. Then we have to write the specification for the materials, that is cement, coarse aggregates, fine aggregates, steel and water. Then how to mix the materials, and laying and protecting and curing. So these items will follow one by other. So in case of centering and shuttering, when we are writing, shuttering will be of approved dressed timber not less than 3 meter thick. Centering can be done by using timber. Earlier days only timber was centering available, but nowadays it is replaced by steel. So either steel centering or timber centering can be used. Faces in contact with concrete shall be free from adhering gout, projecting and other such defects. Whenever we provide the concrete above centering, the top surface should be free from adhering grouts, nails or any other defects. It should be smooth so that the concrete will not stick or will not give a bad impression on the surface. As I mentioned, steel shuttering may also be used for the centering. All joints of shuttering shall be sealed to prevent the loss of liquid from the concrete. Since we are providing the shuttering by using timber or by using steel sheets, there will be joints between two sheets, or there will be joint between two planks in case of timber, and we have to seal these joints. We have to seal these joints either by providing steel tape or by providing tapes, so that the liquid from the concrete will not escape from these joints. All shuttering shall be rigid, well braced and sufficiently strong. All shuttering shall be removed after 21 days for bottom of slab, beam, and for 3 days for the sides. For the sides, nothing but sides of the beams or side of the column. 3 days, after 3 days we can remove the shuttering. Coming to the reinforcement, the steel bars shall conform to IS specifications, free from rust, paint, grease, oil, etc. When we talk about the steel reinforcement, you can say it is from IS specifications. So Indian standard specifications are there, which has to be satisfied. Maybe the diameter, maybe the length, maybe the strength, all these factors it should satisfy. All reinforcement bar shall be accurately placed with necessary hooks, bends, etc. Whenever we are going to place the reinforcement, we should see that the steel bars are straight. Steel bars are straight. Wherever hooks are required, these hooks has to be provided. Wherever we require the bends, these bends has to be provided clearly. The cover for concrete to reinforcement shall be as specified. We have to keep the covers for the reinforcement so that the steel bars will not be exposed after laying the concrete. And according to the IS code books, we have to keep a covering of 20 mm for slabs, 25 mm for beams and 40 mm for the columns. So these concrete blocks, these blocks can be of concrete or hard stone as specified by the engineers. This figure indicates how the reinforcement is done, and here how the concreting is laying. Okay, this is the centering which is done for columns, and here you can see how the vibrations is carried out mechanically. As I've told you, proportioning, mixing, the specifications are same as that of cement, concrete, and foundation bed. So proportioning of concrete, cement, sand, and coarse aggregates will be 1:2:4 or 1:3:6 as specified. Normally, they will specify in terms of M25 or M15 mix. M15 means it is 1:2:4, and M20 means it is 1:1.5:3. So these proportions they have to consider. Then coarse aggregates and sand shall be measured by gauge boxes of suitable size. The volume of gauge boxes should be 1 meter cube, or it should be equal to the volume of cement, so that we can perfectly do the volume batching. If the sand contains moisture, then bulkage shall be determined at the site and extra quantity of sand shall be added. You have to see that as far as possible the sand should be dry, but if the sand contains any moisture, then proper amount of bulkage has to be considered. Mixing, as I've told you, mixing can be done either by using hand mixing or by using machine mixing. If you are using hand mixing, then if it's you have 1:2:4 or 1:1.5:3 proportion, we have to spread all the coarse aggregates first on a dry platform. Then over that we have to apply dry mixture of cement and sand, and we have to see that this dry mixture spreads entirely over the mixture, and then we have to apply the water and have to mix it thoroughly. So this is called as hand mixing. But normally for reinforced concrete, we are not going for dry mixing unless the quantity is very small. Sometimes for columns, because the quantity will be small, we are going by hand mixing. But as far as possible, the mixing should be done by using the concrete mixes. And the machine mixing, the coarse aggregates shall be placed first, which shall be followed by sand, cement, and then water. This is the procedure how we are putting the things in the mixing machine. Water will then be added gradually to the required quantity to have the desired water cement ratio. Mixing shall be continued there in a uniform distribution of the material, and the concrete is uniform in color and consistency, but in no case the mixing is done for less than 2 minutes after all the materials including water are kept in the drum. So minimum period of 2 minutes we have to keep the materials inside the drum, and then we have to remove it and should lay it on the surface. The mixed concrete shall be unloaded on a watertight masonry platform or on a steel plate. Only such quantity as are required for immediate use are to be mixed at one time, and the entire quantity shall be removed and placed at its position before the initial setting time of the cement. Normally the initial setting time of the cement will be 30 minutes, and within 30 minutes we have to do all the process of mixing, laying, compaction, vibration, all these things. Workability of concrete shall be checked at frequent intervals. The slump test, or where facilities exist for compaction factor test, shall be adopted for this purpose. Before proceeding to place the concrete, the masonry platform, the centering should be wetted so that whatever dust particles are there, they should be removed from the surface. Concrete shall be dropped from a height of not more than 1 meter. Okay. Each layer of concrete is being placed will be consolidated by mechanical vibrator. All surfaces after consolidation shall be free from hair walls, honeycombing, and other blemishes. Any water accumulation on the surface of newly placed concrete shall be removed by approved means. Concrete shall be placed continually till the completion of the part of work between construction joints. Regarding the protection and curing, All fresh concrete shall be kept 1 to 2 hours after its laying from too rapid drying due to sunshine, etc., and also from running the surface water and shocks. That's why you have to see that if it's too dry, then you have to sprinkle the water on the surface of the concrete after 3 or 4 hours. Otherwise, the concrete will be too dry and will form shrinkage cracks on the top layer of the concrete. After 24 hours of laying the concrete, the surface shall be cured by flooding with water of minimum 25 mm depth or by covering with wet absorbent materials. Normally, the method adopted is flooding. If it is slabs, we are doing it by flooding, or if it is columns, then we have to cover it by gunny bags and we have to keep watering on the surface of the columns. The curing period shall be continued for 28 days, not 10 days. If it is bed, 10 days. If it is RCS works, the curing of 28 days is required. So next item, what we are going to discuss is the specifications for cement plastering. Cement plastering is a finishing item which will be done once the concrete or masonry is completed. Plastering can be done for masonry surfaces or for concrete surfaces. So when we do the plastering, you have to see that the surface will be clean, so it should not contain any dust and either loose particles. So we have to remove all the loose particles which are there on the surface of the masonry. If it is concrete surface, then you have to see that the concrete surface will be rough. Otherwise, we have to do the hacking so that the plaster will adhere properly to the concrete surface. And as usual, before writing the specifications, first we have to write about the materials, then about the preparation of cement mortar, and then preparation of surface and laying, curing. So these steps should be involved in the methods. So as the first step, cement materials. So normally for cement plastering we require cement, sand and water, and the proportion should be as given by the mentioned by the engineer. The material is nothing but cement. Cement shall be of fresh Portland cement and with the standard specifications. Again, we are not going to specify the brand name here. Only we have to write it is about the standard specifications. Sand should be medium quality, clean, free from organic matters and salts. Normally for the plastering we are using medium or fine quality of sand, and it should be free from salts. Otherwise later the salt portions will appear and it will destroy the surface. All the materials including water shall be of standard specifications. Water which is fit for drinking can be used. So these are the specifications which are required for materials. Coming to the preparation of mortar. The material should be first mixed dry thoroughly till uniform color to the required proportion, and then shall be mixed wet, adding a water slowly and gradually for at least 4 times to give a uniform paste. This is the procedure of mixing the materials. First you have to mix sand and cement dry so that you will get a uniform color, and later the water is added to the required quantity and again it is mixed 2 or 3 times so that you will get a uniform paste. So we have to see that once the mixture is ready, it should be consumed within the initial setting time of the cement. Sometimes it is not possible. In that case, again we have to mix it by adding some amount of cement and sand and then water, and then it should be used. Preparation of surface. The surface of the wall should be brushed, cleaned, washed, watered and wetted with water before plastering. You have to apply a brush and you have to see that the surface will be clean. It should be washed, watered and wetted. So normally after masonry the surface will be dry. So if we are applying the cement plastering on the dry surface, the bricks or stone will absorb the water. That's why first it should be wetted and then only we have to start applying the plastering. In case of cement plastering on the face, with the surface should be lightly roughed, cleaned, washed and wetted. To ensure uniform thickness, or plaster. Narrow strips of about 10 cm wide plaster shall be applied first at a distance of about 1 meter center to center, and these gaps later filled with the mortar. Laying. The plastering shall be started from top and worked towards the ground. The whole surface shall be made flush with wooden straight edges and rubbed thoroughly with wooden floors to ensure an even surface. Rounding of corners if desired by the engineer shall be carried out of the operation. So plastering surface shall be kept wet by sprinkling water after 24 hours and for 7 days, and shall be protected from rain and sun. So these are the specifications required for cement plastering. This figure shows how the plastering work will be done. Here in the first figure it shows that the how the wooden edge is used for plastering. Second, the scaffolding is provided and the plastering will be done for the brick masonry work. Similarly, other two figures also shows the methods of plastering work. Next item what we are going to discuss is cement pointing. Sometimes for brickworks we are not going to plaster the entire surface, whereas we'll do the pointing only for the joints so that the bricks looks like natural, and that is called as pointing. So various different types of pointings are available. There are flush pointing, rule pointing, etc. So here also, while writing the specifications for cement pointing, first you have to write about the materials, then you have to write the preparation of surface, mortar, and then different types of pointings and production. These items we have to include. So specifications will remain almost similar to the specifications we have written for cement plastering, because we have to prepare the mortar, and to prepare the mortar the materials required are cement and sand and water. That's why we can write the same specifications what we have written for cement plastering. So I'll directly start with the preparation of surface here. So preparation of surface is the joints of the brickwork shall be raked. This is important now. Raked to a depth of at least 12 mm. Okay, whatever joints already prepared while laying the masonry, those should be raked so that all the loose contents of mortar shall be removed. Raking shall be done with long nails bent at one end so that it goes easily inside the joints and can remove all the loose mortar particles from the joints. The surface of the wall, including the raked joints, shall be brushed, cleaned, and washed with water and kept wet for 2 hours before pointing. This is why it is required, so that the bricks will absorb the water. Bricks will be wet and they will not absorb the water from the mortar. Pointing to new brickwork shall be done with the mortar in the joints is still green. Ingredients of mortar are cement and sand shall be of standard specifications and shall be first mixed dry with the required proportions, say 1:2, 1:3 or 1:4, and then they are wetted by adding water gradually and slowly to form a sufficient mortar. Now the different types of pointing, as I said, the pointing may be flush pointing or it will be rule pointing. If it is flush pointing, both horizontal and vertical joints shall be filled up with mortar and pressed with a pointing trowel and finished off flush with the edges of the bricks so as to produce an even appearance to the brick surface. If it is for rule pointing, horizontal joints shall be first filled with mortar and pressed to form U-shaped horizontal lines. The vertical joints shall then be filled with mortar and pressed flush with the edges. During pointing work, the mortar shall be spread over the face of the bricks and the edges of the bricks shall be clearly defined. This is important factor. Since we are doing only the pointing, the mortar should not spread on the surface of the bricks. The edges should be clearly defined, and whatever mortar spread on the surface of the brick shall be cleaned immediately. All pointing work shall be kept wet for at least 7 days, and during this period it should be protected from sun and rain and direct dampness. The figure indicates how the pointing will be done on the brick masonry wall. So next item is, once the plastering is done, then it has to be painted. So we have various quality of paintings, that may be whitewashing, distempering or color washing. Variety of paints are available nowadays, and we can do the painting as specified by the engineer. So while writing the whitewashing is nothing but, earlier days the whitewashing was done by using the lime, but nowadays we are be directly available the paints, white paints, and that also can be applied. Now this whitewashing, we will use the lime and we'll do the whitewashing. So materials is, as I've told you, it's lime. The wash shall be composed of 5 parts of stone lime and 1 part of shell lime, well slaked and mixed with clean water to form a thin cream. Okay, 5 parts of, we have to take the 5 parts of stone lime and 1 part of shell lime, should mix thoroughly and should be slaked so that it become a thin cream. Lime water thoroughly mixed and strained through a clean cloth. Okay, once we'll get the cream, and this should be thoroughly strained with a clean cloth so that we'll get the milky water, and which can be applied on the surfaces. Gum shall be added of 100 grams to 15 liters of the paste. So this gum is required so that this lime water will stick on the surface of the masonry. Preparation of the base. The wall should be cleaned and free from all loose and foreign matters. Okay. So this should be clean. Then lime putty shall be used to fill the holes. If there is any holes which are there in the stones, those holes should be filled first. The masonry, the mortar holes should be filled first by using the lime putty, and then only the whitewashing should be done. The method of application will be, whitewash should be applied with hair brushes, vertical and horizontal alternative. If you are doing the first coat vertical and then second coat should be done horizontally. Each coat should be perfectly dry before succeeding the second coat. It means once the first coat is laid, we should see that the coat will perfectly dry, and then only we have to apply the second coat. Otherwise, the effect will not appear on the wall. Whitewash shall kept stir it. Since it is a mixture of lime water, you have to continuously keep on stirring. Otherwise, the lime particles will settle down. So the water will be coming on the top. Whitewash shall not be splashed on the floor or in other surfaces. 2 or 3 coats shall be applied as specified by the engineer. So this is the specifications required for whitewash. Similarly, we can write the specifications for color washing also. It is same, only the difference is we can add the required coloring pigment to the whitewash, and it can be applied so that it will become the color washing. So these are the specifications required for painting works.